If you've just had weight loss surgery, maybe you had a gastric sleeve or you had a gastric bypass, and your body is starting to feel very off, like maybe food tastes different, or you're dehydrated and you're struggling to stay hydrated, you feel tired and you've got a headache, and or maybe you're feeling nauseous or you're feeling sweaty and you're wondering what's going on and what you can do about it. You're going to want to watch this video. I'm going to go through some of the common physical changes that happen immediately after having bariatric surgery. If you're thinking about having weight loss surgery, I want you to stick around. I'm not trying to scare you, but I'm going to share some things that I wish I knew before I had bariatric surgery, so that way you're prepared. I'm not trying to scare you off of surgery, but you want to be mentally prepared so you know what you can do to prevent some of these or what you can do to help manage them if they come up. My name is Sean. I had a mini gastric bypass in March 2022. I've lost 140 pounds. That's 88% of my excess weight. And I'm also a health journalist, and I've worked in marketing for a weight loss clinic. I'm now independent, and I help people who are thinking about having weight loss surgery. So let's hop into it. As we get started, I want to say up front, I'm not a medical professional, so I can't give you personal medical advice. I can tell you about some of these common physical changes that people experience, but if you experience any of these and you need help, I want you to go back to your surgery team so that way they can help you. Okay, deal? All right, let's start with one of the most common ones, which is dehydration. This is really common after bariatric surgery. It happens because you have a smaller capacity. Your body, your stomach can't hold as much water and fluid as it used to. Also, you're swollen. Your stomach is really sensitive. Sometimes water feels heavy, if that makes sense. And sometimes your stomach gets really sensitive to temperature. So some of the things that you can do are, and then on top of that, once you start eating food, whether you are at the puree stage or the soft food stage, or you start eating regular food, you have to start separating eating and drinking. Some surgeons say by 30 minutes. So you have less time during the day to drink everything that you need to drink, and you still have to hit your hydration goal. And you do want to stay ahead of it because once you get behind, it's hard to catch up because you can't just like chug a lug a whole bottle like you used to. You don't have the capacity for that. So it's really important to stay ahead. So some of the things you can do, it's really important to be proactive. Get a water bottle. I use a mason jar. Here's my mason jar of tea today. I'm having some fruit tea. So you want to have some way to track how much you're drinking. So I use these 16-ounce jars. I know that if I drink 4 of them, I've hit my minimum goal for the day. If you feel that water feels heavy on your stomach or just feels really uncomfortable, some people try alkaline water. And this helped me when I was in my early stage right after surgery. You can buy bottled alkaline water. I've seen it in drugstores and places like Walmart. Or some people just add a really tiny pinch of baking soda to turn the water a little more alkaline, and it feels easier on your stomach. Some people get really sensitive to temperature. This was also a problem that I experienced. I couldn't tolerate cold. Some people can't tolerate hot. So just try a different temperature of water. Also, try electrolytes. In fact, some surgeons recommend that you have at least 1 electrolyte drink every day. So try electrolytes, and that might help you have something that tastes good so that way you can hit your hydration goals. If you do find yourself dehydrated, reach out to your surgery team. They may have you come in for an IV, or they may tell you to go to the emergency room for an IV, depending on how dehydrated you are. You don't want to necessarily go to an IV spa. The reason is that if they don't understand bariatric needs, they may not be able to give you enough. Sometimes bariatric patients need multiple bags of IV fluids, and if they aren't familiar with working with bariatric patients, an IV spa may not be able to understand that and give you what you need to help you recover from dehydration. So definitely reach out to your surgery team for help if you get dehydrated. All right. The second on my list today is constipation. This is also pretty common after bariatric surgery. Number one, anesthesia can lead to constipation. You're not eating any fiber. If you had a liquid diet before your surgery, you haven't eaten any fiber before your surgery. And then in the days that you're on, a liquid diet after surgery, you're not getting any fiber. So, and then if you get dehydrated, that can lead to constipation. Talk to your surgeon about what you can do. I'm going to give you some of the things that I've heard as solutions, but I will tell you that my surgeon and my primary care doctor had two different approaches, and so I was kind of, which way do I go? So you definitely want to talk to your care providers, and if you get conflicting information, try to get some consensus between them. Please do not take fiber, like the psyllium seed or fiber capsules. Don't do that until your surgeon says it's okay, because you don't want that stuff swelling up in your stomach and you've just had surgery, okay? So don't do that until you're cleared to do that. All right, so some of the things that you can do are magnesium supplements. Most surgeons warn people away from gummies after having bariatric surgery, but you may be able to take magnesium capsules. So talk to your surgery team about that. Walking is a good thing that you can do. Your surgeon is probably going to tell you to start walking as soon as you wake up from surgery. So walking will kind of help keep things moving. So definitely do some daily walking. Don't sit for long periods of time. Stay hydrated. It's really important that you stay hydrated. And then you can take stool softeners. A lot of people can take Miralax more than once a day. Again, get clearance from your care provider, but that's something that you can take to help prevent constipation. If you have had surgery and you've experienced constipation and it's getting worse, or it's just, you're not able to manage it, go talk to a gastroenterologist or go talk to your doctor to see if they can help you. All right, let's talk about number 3, which is dumping syndrome. This sounds like vomiting, but it's not. There's 2 types of dumping syndrome. There's early dumping syndrome and there's late dumping syndrome. Dumping syndrome is more common among people who have an RNY bypass, and not everybody experiences dumping syndrome. I'm 3 years out and I've never experienced dumping syndrome. So there are some guidelines that you can follow to help prevent dumping syndrome. Let's talk about what happens. Okay, so early dumping syndrome happens about 10 to 30 minutes after you eat. And that is when there's like a sugar rush to your intestines. Like there's just too much sugar at once. This can make you feel nauseous. It can cause cramping. It can cause diarrhea. So that's early dumping syndrome. Late dumping syndrome happens 1 to 3 hours after you eat. And this is caused by a sudden drop in blood sugar. So people feel shaky. They may become confused. They get sweaty. And that is late dumping syndrome. Both of these are temporary conditions, but they feel terrible from what I've heard from people who have had it, that had dumping syndrome. So you want to avoid it if you can. I'm going to tell you what my dietitian told me. You want to pay attention to the amount of sugar and the amount of fat in every meal that you eat. So try to keep it under 10 grams of sugar and less than 10 grams of fat for any meal that you have. And include drinks too. Like try to keep drinks, ideally, you want to keep drinks sugar-free or very low sugar, but you want to keep it under 10 grams of sugar because you don't want to experience dumping syndrome. It is not a pleasant feeling at all from what I hear. All right, let's go to number 4 on the list. Number 4 is lactose intolerance. Sometimes surgery can make you lactose intolerant if you aren't already. Why does this happen? Your stomach is a lot smaller now, and you may, depending on your procedure, have also lost some intestines. When your stomach was larger and you ate dairy or drank dairy, your system had time to produce enough lactase, the enzyme that helps your body break down lactose. Your body had enough time to produce enough lactase to manage all of that and to break it all down because you had more capacity, and so dairy moved through your system slower. But now that your stomach is smaller and you may have had some of your intestines bypassed, that lactose is hitting your system faster and your body can't produce enough lactase to keep up. So you become lactose intolerant. You don't know until it happens. So one caution, a lot of people like to try to stock up before they have surgery. I made this mistake. Like I stocked up on a bunch of things before I had surgery, and then I had surgery, and all of a sudden I couldn't tolerate things anymore. So if you haven't had surgery yet, don't go out and buy a bunch of yogurt or milk until you know after surgery that you can still tolerate lactose. So there's really nothing you can do to prevent it, but when it happens, then you can try, lactose free dairy ingredients, which is a lot of what I use, or you can use Lactaid tablets once you're cleared to be able to take tablets. So you just have to manage it the way that other people who have lactose intolerance deal with it. All right, let's talk about number 5 on the list of physical changes that you may experience after having weight loss surgery. Number 5, your taste buds change. Just like lactose intolerance, this doesn't happen to everybody. You can't prevent it, and you don't know what's going to happen until it happens. Science doesn't know why taste buds change after people have weight loss surgery. The working theory right now is that the hormonal changes that happen after you have weight loss surgery because of the stomach that is either removed or separated, those hormonal changes trigger taste bud changes. But again, no one knows exactly why this happens. The other thing is that among people who do have taste bud changes, it's all different. One of the more common ones is that people don't tolerate sweet things anymore, and that's the taste bud change that I experienced. I can't tolerate sweet things anymore, not even protein drinks that have alternative sweeteners. They are just too cloying for me. Some people can't tolerate spicy things. Some people can't tolerate acidic things. Sometimes a change is maybe a good change. Like I consider the intolerance to sweet things a positive tool for me. I know someone who couldn't stand green peas before she had surgery, and now she loves them. And so now she's embracing the love for vegetables and she's getting more fiber. Again, there's nothing really you can do to prevent it. And in my experience, the best way to manage it is just to give yourself some latitude in your grocery budget. Don't stock up before you have surgery because you don't know if your taste buds are going to change or how they might change. And you don't want to spend a lot of money on food that you may not be able to eat anymore or drinks that you may not be able to use. So just give yourself some extra room in your grocery budget for a couple of months so that way you can experiment with what you can and can't tolerate and you can really find what works for you. All right, so if you've experienced any of these changes and you have some tips about how to handle them, do us all a favor and drop a comment in the links and let us know what you did. Maybe you have some really great electrolytes or you have a creative way that you've approached lactose intolerance or the taste bud changes. But let us know so that way we can all help each other, okay? And then I'm going to ask another favor. If you would please subscribe to my channel. I'm really passionate about helping people who want to have bariatric surgery. It took me 2 years to go from deciding to have surgery to actually getting in the operating room. And if I had known what I'm sharing in these videos, I probably would have saved myself a lot of time and money. And I want to help people save time and money. So if you subscribe, it will let the YouTube algorithm know to show this to people who need to see it. And I would really appreciate that. You'll be doing somebody a favor. All right, I have a couple of tools for you if you are in the planning stages of your bariatric surgery. If you go to the video description, you'll see 2 links. The first link is to the Bariatric Surgery Explorer. That is a website that I put together where you can learn more about the different bariatric procedures and you can explore costs. You can compare procedures and you can compare costs between countries. All the prices are ballpark. Every surgeon has their own pricing, but this will give you an idea in case you need to finance your surgery or pay out of pocket. The other tool that I offer peer support calls. So I help you plan your bariatric surgery. Again, I'm not a medical professional. I'm not a therapist. I'm not a nutritionist. I help you save time and money by helping you create a personalized roadmap. So if you're still trying to find a surgeon or you're thinking about having surgery outside of the United States, or you think you might have to finance, or you might need to appeal to your insurance company, these are the kinds of things that I can help people with. Again, it'll save you time and it may even save you some money. So if you think that this will be helpful for you, there's a link to my Calendly in the video description. Book some time that works for you. We'll spend an hour together and you can let me know what you'd like to focus on. After our call, I will send you a recap of everything that we've talked about, and I'll send you some resources, and I've even got a couple of bonuses for you to help you in your journey. Thank you so much if you're still with me, and I wish you all the best.